Imagine this. You walk into a room and all eyes are on you. There's a certain aura about you, a confidence that makes others gravitate toward you naturally. But here's the catch. What if I told you that flirting isn't just about charm or looks? What if it's a skill, an art, grounded in psychology, and something that anyone can master? Today we're diving deep into the best ways to flirt, strategies that not only work, but make you stand out in a way most people can't even imagine. And trust me, you'll want to stick around because the final insight is the most powerful of all. It's a game changer. But before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome to Red Pill Feminina. If you want content that challenges traditional narratives, pushes you to think critically, and reveals truths often overlooked, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaways as we go through this. And stay tuned because I promise these revelations will transform the way you approach flirting. Now, let's talk about what most people get wrong about flirting. Society often paints flirting as a shallow act, a smile here, a compliment there. But the truth is far deeper. According to experts like Robert Greene, author of The Art of Seduction, true flirting is about creating an emotional connection, sparking curiosity, and leaving an impression that lingers. But here's where the red pill critique comes in. Mainstream advice focuses on superficial tactics, assuming everyone operates under the same motivations. We know that's not true. Men and women experience attraction differently, and understanding this difference is key to unlocking the art of flirting. Flirting, when done effectively, isn't just about saying the right thing. It's about understanding human behavior. Take this example. Have you ever noticed how people are drawn to someone who's confident but not arrogant? This isn't a coincidence. Behavioral psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson often discusses how confidence signals competence, a trait universally attractive because it suggests the ability to handle life's challenges. Confidence isn't about bragging. It's about self-assuredness. When you're flirting, your energy should convey, "I know my worth and I'm curious about yours." Think about this. What's the first thing someone notices about you? It's not your words, it's your body language. Research shows that over 70% of communication is nonverbal, yet so many people focus entirely on what they're saying. An open posture, consistent eye contact, and even something as simple as a genuine smile can signal approachability. As author Vanessa Van Edwards explains in her book Captivate, micro-expressions like a subtle tilt of the head or a slight lean forward can create an unconscious sense of connection. These cues signal interest without being overt, making the other person feel seen and valued. Now here's a secret that few people understand: the power of curiosity. When you're genuinely curious about someone, it shows. And curiosity is magnetic. Most people, when flirting, focus on impressing the other person. They want to talk about themselves, their achievements, their stories. But here's the truth. The person who listens more often wins. As Dale Carnegie emphasizes in How to Win Friends and Influence People, asking meaningful questions and showing genuine interest makes people feel special. For example, instead of a generic, "What do you do for a living?" you could ask, "What's the most exciting part of your work?" This small tweak invites deeper conversation and creates an emotional bond. But let's address the elephant in the room: playing hard to get. This is one of the most debated aspects of flirting. And here's where the red pill critique offers a fresh perspective. Popular culture often glorifies the chase, portraying it as the ultimate way to build attraction. And while there's some truth to this, after all, people value what they work for, the reality is more nuanced. Playing hard to get can backfire if it crosses the line into disinterest. According to Dr. Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist who has studied attraction extensively, the balance lies in being selectively available. This means showing genuine interest but maintaining your independence, signaling that while you're interested, your life is full and fulfilling with or without their attention. Here's something to reflect on. What message are you sending when you flirt? Are you trying to gain validation, or are you showing the other person that you're someone worth knowing? This distinction is crucial. Flirting isn't about proving yourself. It's about inviting someone into your world. And the most effective way to do that is by embodying authenticity. You've probably heard the phrase "be yourself" countless times, but let's be real, most people don't even know what that means. Being yourself doesn't mean oversharing or being overly casual. It means embracing your unique qualities and owning them unapologetically. When you do this, you become memorable. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're at a social event and instead of blending into the crowd, you make a lighthearted comment about the music being played. That small moment of humor and authenticity sets you apart because it shows you're comfortable enough to express your thoughts without fear of judgment. As Mark Manson writes in Models, attract women through honesty. Vulnerability is attractive because it's rare. Most people hide behind masks, afraid to show their true selves. But when you're open and authentic, it creates a sense of trust and intimacy. Now let's bring this all together. The key to flirting effectively isn't about tricks or gimmicks. It's about understanding yourself and the person in front of you. It's about connection, curiosity, and confidence. And most importantly, it's about being intentional. Flirting isn't just something you do. It's a way of being. When you approach it with the mindset of giving value rather than seeking it, everything changes. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments. What's the best flirting tip you've ever received? Or better yet, share a moment when someone flirted with you in a way that left a lasting impression. I'd love to hear your stories. Stay tuned because we've only scratched the surface. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the psychological triggers that amplify attraction and how to use them effectively. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. It's a revelation that will change the way you see flirting forever. Now that we've established the foundations of flirting, confidence, curiosity, and authenticity, let's dig deeper into the psychological triggers that create a lasting impression. Have you ever met someone who just seemed magnetic? Someone whose presence lingered in your mind long after the interaction ended? That's not luck or coincidence. It's strategy. And in this section, we'll uncover how to create that same effect for yourself. One of the most powerful triggers in flirting is the concept of mirroring. This technique is rooted in neuroscience and has been widely studied in social psychology. When we like someone, we naturally mimic their gestures, tone, and even speech patterns. But here's the fascinating part. The reverse is also true. By subtly mirroring the other person's body language and tone, you create a sense of connection and familiarity. It's as if your presence is telling them, we're on the same wavelength. But here's the key. It has to be subtle. Overdoing it comes across as insincere or even manipulative. A slight tilt of your head, matching their energy level or aligning your posture can go a long way. Another psychological tool often overlooked is the power of mystery. Humans are wired to be curious, and nothing piques curiosity more than the unknown. Think about it. Have you ever been more intrigued by someone who didn't immediately reveal everything about themselves? This is because, as Robert Greene explains in The Art of Seduction, mystery creates anticipation, and anticipation amplifies attraction. But mystery isn't about being evasive or distant. It's about revealing just enough to keep the other person wanting more. For instance, instead of answering a question with a full, straightforward response, you could say, "It's a long story, but I'll tell you someday." This leaves them intrigued and wanting to know more about you. But mystery alone isn't enough. To truly connect, you need to engage the other person's emotions. One of the most effective ways to do this is through storytelling. Stories have a unique ability to create emotional resonance because they activate multiple areas of the brain simultaneously. When you share a personal story, especially one that reveals your passions, challenges, or dreams, you invite the other person into your world. And here's where the red pill critique comes into play. Many people fall into the trap of sharing stories to impress rather than connect. The difference is subtle but significant. A story meant to connect focuses on shared experiences and emotions, while a story meant to impress is self-centered and often alienates the listener. As Brené Brown highlights in her work on vulnerability, the most impactful stories are those that show your humanity, not your perfection. Now let's talk about humor, a critical yet underestimated aspect of flirting. Laughter creates an instant bond, lowers defenses, and makes interactions memorable. Studies have shown that humor activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine, which enhances feelings of happiness and attraction. But here's the thing. Humor is subjective. The key is to use it in a way that aligns with your personality. If you're naturally witty, lean into that. If you're more playful, embrace it. The goal isn't to force jokes, but to find moments of lightness in the conversation. For example, if you're talking about an awkward situation, don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. Self-deprecating humor, when used sparingly, can make you relatable and approachable. At this point, you might be wondering, isn't flirting all about creating a positive impression? Yes, but here's a surprising twist. A little tension can actually enhance attraction. This concept, often referred to as push-pull, is about balancing interest with challenge. For example, you might compliment someone but then playfully tease them about something minor. This dynamic keeps the interaction engaging and prevents it from becoming predictable. As Mark Manson explains in Models, attraction thrives on a mix of comfort and uncertainty. Too much comfort, and the interaction feels platonic. Too much uncertainty, and it feels stressful. The magic lies in striking that balance. Let's dive deeper into the importance of eye contact, arguably one of the most powerful tools in flirting. Eye contact creates intimacy and signals confidence, but it's not just about staring into someone's eyes. The way you look at someone matters. Psychologists suggest using the triangle gaze, where your eyes naturally move between the other person's eyes and mouth. This subtle movement creates a sense of connection and intrigue, but don't overthink it. The key is to let your gaze linger just long enough to show interest without making the other person uncomfortable. Here's another critical element: timing. The art of flirting isn't just about what you say or do, it's about knowing when to say or do it. Timing is the difference between a compliment that feels genuine and one that feels forced. For example, instead of giving a compliment the moment you meet someone, wait until there's a natural pause in the conversation. This makes your words feel more thoughtful and less rehearsed. Similarly, timing plays a role in humor, storytelling, and even body language. A well-timed smile or laugh can change the entire tone of an interaction. But let's address a common misconception. Does flirting always have to lead somewhere? The answer is no. Flirting is an art form, not a transaction. It's about creating moments of connection and enjoyment, regardless of the outcome. And this mindset shift is liberating. When you approach flirting as a way to add value to someone's day rather than as a means to an end, you remove the pressure and become more authentic. Ironically, this authenticity often makes you more attractive. As we close this section, let's recap. The key to effective flirting lies in understanding psychology and emotions. Whether it's through subtle mirroring, creating mystery, using humor, or mastering timing, the goal is to connect on a deeper level. And remember, flirting isn't about manipulation. It's about genuine connection. Here's something for you to reflect on. When was the last time you felt a real connection with someone? What made that moment stand out? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Coming up next, we'll explore the unspoken rules of flirting. What works, what doesn't, and how to navigate the fine line between confidence and overconfidence. This next part will be packed with insights that will challenge everything you thought you knew about attraction. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. Let's dive even deeper into the unspoken rules of flirting. Those subtle nuances that separate a charming interaction from an awkward one. These rules, often overlooked, hold the key to building authentic connections and creating lasting impressions. By understanding these principles, you'll not only elevate your flirting game, but also gain insights into human behavior that most people miss entirely. One of the most important unspoken rules of flirting is understanding the balance between confidence and humility. Confidence, as we've discussed, is magnetic. It signals self-assurance and competence. But here's the twist. Too much confidence without humility can come across as arrogance. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who seemed to radiate self-importance? Instead of being drawn to them, you likely felt repelled. That's because arrogance creates distance, while humility creates connection. The key is to show confidence in who you are while remaining grounded and approachable. For example, instead of boasting about an accomplishment, share it as part of a story that reveals your values or passions. This subtle shift keeps the focus on the connection, not on seeking validation. Speaking of validation, let's address another critical aspect of flirting: the importance of emotional availability. Flirting isn't just about charm or clever lines. It's about being present in the moment and genuinely engaging with the other person. Emotional availability means showing that you're open to connection without being overly needy. This balance is crucial. According to renowned relationship coach Matthew Hussey, the most attractive people are those who can balance independence with warmth. They're not looking for someone to complete them. Instead, they're looking for someone to complement their already fulfilling life. Now let's talk about the role of playfulness in flirting. Playfulness is often underestimated, but it's one of the most effective ways to build rapport and create a sense of fun. Playful teasing, for example, can lighten the mood and establish a sense of camaraderie. But here's the key. It has to be done with kindness and respect. Playfulness should never make the other person feel uncomfortable or self-conscious. Instead, it should create a shared moment of laughter that brings you closer together. For example, if someone mentions that they're terrible at dancing, you might say, "Perfect. We can start a club for terrible dancers." This kind of lighthearted banter shows that you're attentive and willing to share in the fun. Another unspoken rule of flirting is understanding the power of scarcity. This doesn't mean playing hard to get in an artificial way. It means valuing your time and energy and communicating that subtly. People are naturally drawn to those who have a sense of purpose and direction in life. When you show that your time is valuable, it signals that you're someone worth knowing. For instance, if you're having a great conversation but need to leave, don't linger just to keep the interaction going. Instead, say something like, "I've really enjoyed talking to you, but I have to run. Let's continue this conversation another time." This approach not only leaves a positive impression, but also creates anticipation for the next interaction. Let's shift gears and explore one of the most misunderstood aspects of flirting: physical touch. Touch, when used appropriately, can create a powerful sense of connection. But here's the catch. It must be done with care and respect. Psychologists often refer to light, fleeting touch as a way to build rapport without crossing boundaries. For example, a brief touch on the arm during a moment of shared laughter can convey warmth and friendliness. However, it's crucial to pay attention to the other person's comfort level. If they seem uncomfortable or pull away, respect their boundaries immediately. Flirting should always feel mutual and enjoyable for both parties. Now, let's address a question that many people have. How do you know if your flirting is working? The answer lies in reciprocity. Flirting is a two-way street, and the best interactions are those where both people are actively engaged. Pay attention to the other person's responses. Are they smiling, laughing, or leaning in? Are they asking you questions or sharing more about themselves? These are all signs that they're enjoying the interaction. On the other hand, if the other person seems distracted, gives short answers, or doesn't reciprocate your energy, it's a sign that they might not be as interested. And that's okay. Flirting is as much about gauging compatibility as it is about building attraction. Here's another critical insight. Flirting is an ongoing process. It doesn't stop after the first interaction or even after you've established a connection. In fact, the best relationships are those where flirting remains a playful and consistent part of your dynamic. Think about long-term couples who still tease each other, share inside jokes, or surprise each other with small gestures. This kind of ongoing flirtation keeps the relationship fresh and exciting. As Dr. John Gottman, a leading researcher in relationships, explains in his book The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, playful interactions build a sense of positivity and resilience in relationships. At this point, you might be wondering, how do you overcome the fear of rejection when flirting? This is one of the biggest barriers for many people, and it's rooted in the fear of vulnerability. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's simply a sign that the connection wasn't the right fit. When you approach flirting with a mindset of curiosity rather than expectation, rejection becomes less intimidating. Instead of seeing it as a failure, see it as feedback. Every interaction, whether successful or not, is an opportunity to learn and grow. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate goal of flirting: creating a sense of connection and joy. At its core, flirting is about making both yourself and the other person feel good. It's not about playing games, manipulating emotions, or proving your worth. When you approach flirting with authenticity, kindness, and a sense of fun, it becomes a natural extension of who you are. So let me ask you this. What's one thing you've learned so far that you're excited to try in your own interactions? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you plan to apply these insights. In the next section, we'll tackle the most powerful and surprising flirting techniques, the ones that go beyond words and actions to influence how someone feels about you on a subconscious level. These techniques are rooted in psychology and neuroscience and will completely change the way you approach attraction. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Here is the final section, building upon the insights shared so far and delivering a strong conclusion. Approximately 5,000 characters. Now, let's uncover the most powerful and surprising techniques of flirting, those subtle subconscious tactics that create undeniable chemistry. These methods go beyond mere words or gestures. They tap into the way humans are hardwired to connect, leveraging psychological principles to leave a lasting impression. One of the most impactful tools in your flirting arsenal is emotional priming. This concept, explored extensively in Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, suggests that people are more likely to feel positively toward someone when they're already in a positive emotional state. Think about the times you've met someone while experiencing joy, excitement, or even relief. Chances are, you associated those positive emotions with the person, even if they weren't the direct cause. You can use this principle to your advantage by creating environments or moments that evoke these feelings. For example, suggesting a fun activity, sharing an exciting story, or simply radiating positivity yourself can prime the other person to feel good in your presence. Equally powerful is the concept of association. This technique, rooted in classical conditioning, works by linking yourself with positive experiences. For instance, if you're always the one who makes someone laugh, helps them feel understood, or introduces them to new and exciting things, they'll naturally associate you with those feelings. This is why shared experiences are so crucial in building attraction. The more you can create memorable, enjoyable moments together, the stronger the connection becomes. Now let's talk about the power of contrast. Humans are wired to notice differences, and you can use this to stand out in subtle but significant ways. For example, if most people approach someone with superficial compliments, you might stand out by asking a thoughtful question about their interests or passions. If others are trying too hard to impress, you can differentiate yourself by being authentic and grounded. This principle is echoed in Models by Mark Manson, where he emphasizes the importance of being genuine in a world full of pretense. By offering something unique, whether it's your perspective, humor, or depth, you make yourself memorable. But standing out isn't just about what you do. It's also about how you make someone feel. This leads us to one of the most powerful techniques in flirting: validation through acknowledgement. Everyone has a deep universal desire to feel seen, heard, and understood. When you take the time to genuinely acknowledge someone's thoughts, feelings, or experiences, you create a bond that goes beyond surface-level attraction. For example, if someone shares a personal story, don't just nod along. Reflect on it, empathize, and respond in a way that shows you truly listened. You might say, "I can see how much that meant to you," or, "It sounds like that experience really shaped who you are." This kind of acknowledgement fosters a sense of intimacy and trust. Another advanced technique is mastering vocal tonality. Studies have shown that the way you say something often matters more than the words themselves. A warm, engaging tone can convey confidence and interest, while a monotone voice can kill the mood, no matter how compelling your words are. Practice varying your tone to emphasize key points, convey excitement, or create moments of intrigue. For example, lowering your voice slightly when sharing something personal can draw the other person in and create a sense of intimacy. At this point, you might be wondering, what role does vulnerability play in flirting? The answer is a significant one. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it's one of the most powerful ways to create connection. When you share something meaningful about yourself, whether it's a dream, a challenge, or even a quirky habit, you signal trust and openness. This, in turn, encourages the other person to open up as well. But here's the key: vulnerability must be balanced with strength. As Brené Brown explains in Daring Greatly, the most compelling people are those who are both authentic and resilient. They're not afraid to show their humanity, but they also exude self-assurance and purpose. Finally, let's explore the role of nonverbal communication in flirting. Research shows that the majority of communication is nonverbal, which means your body language, facial expressions, and even your energy play a huge role in how you're perceived. One of the most powerful nonverbal tools is the smile. A genuine smile not only makes you more approachable, but also triggers a mirror response in the other person, making them feel happier in your presence. Similarly, open body language, such as uncrossed arms, relaxed shoulders, and leaning slightly forward, signals interest and approachability. Another subtle yet powerful nonverbal cue is pausing. Silence, when used intentionally, can be just as impactful as words. For example, pausing for a moment after a compliment or a meaningful statement gives the other person time to process and react. It also creates a sense of suspense, drawing them into the conversation. Now, as we near the end of this exploration, let's address a crucial mindset shift. Flirting is about giving, not taking. When you approach flirting as a way to uplift and connect with others, rather than as a means to achieve a specific outcome, you transform the entire experience. You become someone who adds value, who brightens someone's day, and who leaves people better than you found them. And here's the paradox. By focusing on giving, you naturally become more attractive. So what's the ultimate takeaway? Flirting isn't about rehearsed lines, grand gestures, or superficial charm. It's about authenticity, emotional intelligence, and the willingness to connect on a deeper level. It's about being present, playful, and curious. And most importantly, it's about making the other person feel seen, valued, and appreciated. Now here's my challenge for you. Take just one insight from this video and put it into practice today. Maybe it's maintaining better eye contact, using humor to create a playful moment, or simply being more present in your interactions. Whatever it is, start small and see how it transforms your connections. And if you've made it this far, let me know in the comments. What's the most surprising or valuable thing you've learned? If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share it with someone who could use these tips. And before you go, check out these 2 videos on the screen right now. They dive even deeper into the art of attraction and connection, with strategies that will change the way you approach relationships. Trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, stay confident, stay curious, and keep creating connections that matter.